felt called to ordination actually in high school. And given that I'm 58, that puts it in perspective. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, which is the Diocese of West Texas, which I did not know at the time, but it's evidently a fairly conservative diocese. So there were no role models, even though, if you do the math, I was 8 when women started being ordained. So I had felt called, and instead I went a different path. The ironic thing is, I've actually never met a medical examiner who's not very religious in whatever path they are. They tend to, hate to quote previous politicians, but it almost feels like a higher calling. But no, it never went away. So it was kind of this, I'd be reading religious Christian literature while I'm, waiting to take the stand. And it was guiding to have faith actually in that profession. The number of times that you have to deal with grieving family members, they are always at their worst. Understandably, because they're always tragic deaths. They're never expected deaths. It's usually helpful to do that. And in many ways, it informs my ministry, because death is easy for me to be with somebody else. For lack of a better term, it's never easy for the person, but you can be a calm presence because you have familiarity with it. So it's amazing. As a kid, I remember when I was having these conversations with my priest about, that I felt called, he kind of looked at me as like, you're trying to tell me that being a physician was the path of least resistance? And I'm like, yes, it was. 50 years of ordination for women means that at least we're not new on the block. It doesn't mean that our pay is equal. It isn't. If you look across the board, even for whatever size parish a man will be serving versus a woman, those things across the board, just like the rest of society, we're paid at 80 cents for a dollar. And that, to me, is sad. I think the church should actually rectify that. But we're not new on the block. It's a little novel if you're not Episcopalian and here, but it's not brand new novel for the rest of the church. And that is a blessing and a gift from God. To anyone, I would say, if you actually think you are, you probably are. If you think that the Holy Spirit is stirring you, let it stir. And the Holy Spirit will not lead you wrong. Even if you start that and it ends up something else, it will be something beautiful. But definitely listen to the stirrings. Not that the rest of your life will be wasted. I don't believe that. There's a red thread that God pulls through you for your whole life. But yeah, listen.